Hey guys, LoveBookTriangleLindsey here. This video is going to be my 2019 Bookish year in review. My goal for this reading year was to read 60 books, and I have read 90. I am going to start off by talking about some of my favorite reads this year. Back in February, I read Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I just really enjoyed it. There's a world of Madge, and they're trying to get rights for themselves because they've had to be hidden, and a princess has actually stolen something pretty important that could give the powers back to these people, and they end up meeting up and going on this really big adventure together and meeting all sorts of interesting people along the way. The second book in the series actually just came out at the beginning of December, and it was just a really good read. I really enjoyed the world, the writing, the characters. The only thing I really didn't like in this book was the love connection that they were trying to force. To me, it seemed it was unnecessary, but everything else I really enjoyed. Another book I really enjoyed was Downfall by J. Cronover. It's about a guy living in kind of not the nicest part of town, but he's very nice. He works at a car shop. He's always helping his neighbors, helping the homeless guy that's sleeping on the stairs on the way up to his apartment, and there's a girl with a young daughter that ends up moving in there. They're pretty out of their element. They're kind of in hiding, but he helps her out a lot, and they just create this bond. And I really love Solo. He is such a great guy, and he pretty much made this book for me. This one was one of my favorite reads this year. Another book I really enjoyed is Girl in Love by J. Cronover and Rebecca Yarros. This book is about a girl whose sister is getting married to a guy she used to date. Well, it's her stepsister, and she doesn't have a boyfriend or anything at the moment, so she goes to a bar to try to hire someone because she wants this person to kind of screw up the wedding a little bit. And she ends up meeting this guy, and he needs the money to help his brother out with college funds, and so he agrees to do it. But he sees how this family is treating her, well, how her family is treating her, and he feels bad for her, and he's doing what he can to help her, and they actually end up falling for each other, and then something big happens at the end. I really enjoyed this, the characters, and it just makes you happy for the family that you got. Another book that I really enjoyed, it's Cursed So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. It is a different twist on Beauty and the Beast. She has a disability, our main girl, and she's living in the time of now, and she kind of gets kidnapped while trying to save another girl back to this other time of like princes and the olden days. This prince is cursed that he turns into a monster, and he has to fall in love with his true love or he's gonna stay a monster forever, and this is the final year. So this girl, she speaks her mind. She's not all swoony trying to fall in love with the prince. She's actually trying to help the kingdom, and she sees the problems that have occurred since this curse has been put on the prince and his kingdom, and he's actually getting mad at her for trying to help, and he is actually finding out her true worth and the great person that she is. And again, this book ends on a OMG moment, and the next book, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, comes out at the beginning of January, so I'm so excited to continue this and see with how everything left off how it's going to go. Another favorite read of mine from this year I don't have because I got from the library. It's The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. I thought it was really cute. So this girl and guy are at a wedding. They are not eating the seafood buffet, one because the girl's allergic to shellfish, and the guy, he just doesn't like buffets, and it actually works out in their favor because the seafood is bad, and everyone at the wedding gets sick. And now there's this honeymoon that the new bride and groom can't go on because of their illness, so they give it to the two people who didn't get sick. And they really don't like each other at all, but they agree to go because it's vacation. They're gonna get away. They figure they don't have to do anything with each other except like sleep in the same room. And they end up doing different things together. One of their bosses ends up being there, so they have to play it off as this couple so the hotel doesn't find out that they're not the actual people who are supposed to be in the room. And they do a lot of fun and silly stuff together. It's just a really, really cute story, and I had a lot of fun with it. Now, some of my disappointing reads this year. I picked up Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Roll and Erin Hicks, and I said that wrong. Faith Erin Hicks, and I was really excited for this because it's a graphic novel. The pictures are gorgeous in here, and it's Halloween, and it just sounded really, really cute. The story itself fell really flat for me. Instead of being, well, they're working on a pumpkin farm, these two characters, and I thought it was going to be a lot of fun about the activities you can do on the pumpkin farm and just fun little mischief and happenings while they were working there is what I was expecting to read about. But all it is this guy is trying to talk to a girl, one of the co-workers that he's been too afraid to talk to, and they're just running around the pumpkin farm trying to find, and I'm like, seriously, oh, this is a boy chasing a girl. So the story really, really fell flat for me. I was so disappointed. Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Now, I liked the movie. The story is very, very different from what you get in the movie. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happens, a lot of weird, gross stuff, and this is definitely not like the story I fell in love with and so creeped out at parts of it. So this definitely was not a good read for me. Poor Unfortunate Souls by Serena Valentino. I really like this series. It follows the different Disney villains, and these are some of my all-time favorite covers. I was really excited to read about Ursula, but I feel like you didn't really get Ursula in the story, and that's why it was a disappointing read for me, because in the other books with the other villains you get a lot of that villain, and I feel like she had such a small part in this story that it was following more characters and trying to find her and a deal that was made, and I was so sad. I wanted Ursula, and I just felt like you didn't get that in this story. Two series I was really excited to finish this year were the Lunar Chronicles and the Lux series. The Lunar Chronicles I still didn't read, like Fairest of All and Stars Above, the little novella side-ons, but to me it doesn't matter as much as the big stories themselves, so I still count that as a win. At the beginning of this year, there were some certain series I wanted to finish, and I didn't get to them all, but two is better than none, because in this series I just had read Cinder. I actually started reading Scarlet, and then I finished listening to the rest on audiobook. I really enjoyed this series and the characters. It's a fun world to be in, and I like that you get so many different characters and couples. Thorn is one of my favorite guys in the story, and I really like Cress as well, but I was just so happy to finally finish this series. And then I finally finished the Lux series by Jennifer Armentrout. I read the first book, I believe, at the end of last year, and then I slowly trickled through the rest of the books throughout the year. This is the last book in the series. I think it's a fun world where Katie meets Damon, and he and his family are Luxon, and they have these special powers, and there's so many twists and turns at the end of each story that you're dying to figure out what happens next. But overall, I think the lowest rating for me in the series was a 4. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I can continue into her Origin series now, which already has 2 books out, and the third one is coming out in October, so I'm going to ask you to move on those so I can finally keep up with everything. Lastly, I'm going to talk about some new to me authors this year. Julie Murphy was a new to me author this year. I started off with her book Dumpling, which is about a bigger girl who enters a beauty pageant. Her mom was a beauty pageant queen and she runs the pageant still. It's a big to-do in their town and she's like, why not? I'm gonna join. And then some other misfits around school think she's doing it as a movement type of thing, so they decide to join her as well. The second book is Puddin', where it follows Millie that you meet in the first story, and I just liked her story a lot more than Willow Dean's because I feel like she is just a lot more fun character and she just goes for what she wants and she knows she's different, but she doesn't care. Yeah, it does hurt, but she's a woman striving for greatness, and I just really enjoyed Millie. Dear Sweet Pea is a middle grade novel, and I actually traded this book with someone, so I was happy to receive it, and I thought this was really cute. This girl's parents are split up, but they just live there's one house in between her dad's new house and her original house, and they're like exactly the same. Her parents are trying to keep everything the same, so it's an easy transition, but it ends up making things harder. And her neighbor, the woman that lives in the middle, has to go on vacation, but she is the town's advice columnist lady. They write to her for advice, and she ends up taking a letter and writes an answer to it. She sees it in the paper and she's having fun doing that, but then it starts to create some problems. And I think this is just a cute read for kids, just showing that stuff in life happens and it's what you do that can either make it or break it for you, and it's just a good lesson of how to deal with certain things that happen in this book for kids, and I just thought it was really cute. Megan March was also new to me this year. My friend had met her and read her books a couple of times, and she just kept recommending them to me, and I started listening to a lot of her books on audiobook, and some of her stuff can get a little dark, and some of her stuff is just the fun romantic things. I haven't read this one yet, but this is the only physical book of hers that I own. LJ Shen is another author that was new to me this year. I had one in ebook from her Sinners of Saints series, and I really enjoyed it. It's like the bad boy and that kind of stuff. I have read 3 or 4 of hers so far, and I am excited to continue with more books of hers. And I was happy I got to meet her at Book Bonanza too, except it was at the very end. I didn't think I was going to make it. I thought I was going to get cut off, and she was so sweet. She had to be somewhere, but she said she'd stick around for 20 minutes after the signing ended, and she was just really awesome. Another new to me author this year is Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I read Daisy Jones and the Six. This book follows Daisy Jones, who's a separate musician, and the band The Six, and they end up getting together to form Daisy Jones and the Six. But what I really like about this book is it's in a interview kind of style of writing, and it's kind of like you're watching back in the day how they had, what is it, VH1, I think it was on, not MTV, VH1, and how they follow the band and interview them and stuff. And it's fun to find out at the end who is interviewing the band members. And even though I didn't live back in the time where this story takes place, like 60s, 70s, 80s, I felt like I was taken back there, because you hear things that happen in the different times when you weren't alive, and it just really felt like I was there. The rock and roll, the sex, the drugs, everything that encompasses this book, it really was well written that you could feel like you were there. So that's what I have for my 2019 Bookish year in review. Let me know down below some of your favorites, some of your dislikes. Did you reach your reading goal? And what are some new to you authors this year? Alright guys, till next time. Bye!